Android Lollipop. It's not just for smartphones anymore. If you've been using an Android Wear smartwatch, there's a whole new slew of features just for you, and we're here to give you a quick look. I'm Michael Fisher with Pocketnow, and this is your guided tour of the 5.0 update for Android Wear. What we're looking at here is the general release, folks. This started rolling out to users last week, and we just got the download today on our Moto 360, G-Watch, and G-Watch R. If you're still waiting on the update, here's a hot tip. Factory reset your watch and then dive into Settings, About, System Updates to force the download. Thanks to Marco Hanna for that info. Google hasn't changed the core functionality of Android Wear, and that's a good thing. The vertically scrolling stack of cards offers a mix of statuses and notifications presented in an order Google determines. It can be confusing and not a little frustrating, but there are improvements that make it a smoother experience than before. We'll get to those in a second. Pulling down on the watch face still gets you the date and time. Tapping on the watch face still gets you a manual list of functions. And you can still give the watch voice commands using the customary Google trigger phrase. And exiting any of those functions is a simple matter of swiping right to dismiss. Once you get used to swiping right, you can get too used to it, and eventually you're going to throw away something you didn't mean to dismiss. In the old version, it'd be gone forever, but with the new Android Wear, you're given a short time to undo the dismiss and get your card back. That's very nice. Then there's the new notification settings, which mirror those in the smartphone build of Lollipop. You've got the option to show all notifications, show none, not even alarms, or show only priority interruptions. As long as your phone's running Lollipop, these settings are also immediately applied on your handset and vice versa. Whichever mode you choose, you'll get a persistent icon on the watch face reminding you which one you're in. For greater customization, swipe left for theater mode or sunlight mode. The former silences all notifications and turns off the screen until you press the side button. On watches which have no side button, substitute a double tap. Sunlight mode is just the opposite. It cranks the brightness up to max, so you can keep an eye on things even in bright daylight. And if you swipe all the way to the end, there's a quick jump into settings too. If you find yourself going into settings often, you'll also find a shortcut at the top of the functions list we talked about earlier. It's now been reorganized, so apps or commands you call on more often are grouped toward the top, which is smart if you use the same features over and over and don't necessarily want to use your voice to call them up. Finally, there's the miscellaneous improvements. There's an accessibility mode in settings now for those who need color inversion. There's a quick shortcut on most apps to block notifications, if you decide, for example, that you don't need to know every time an app asks you for a Play Store rating. And there are a few cosmetic improvements throughout, mainly in terms of background graphic elements. What's new on the app side is a somewhat cleaned up but still familiar interface, with the most welcome change being the watch faces section at the top. This aggregates all the watch faces you've already downloaded into one hub, and provides a link at the bottom to jump into the brand new official Watch Faces storefront. No more sifting through listings on the regular Google Play Store. You've also got new options in the settings screen, where you can now monitor your watch's battery and storage consumption, and also turn the tilt to wake feature on and off. We've only used the update for a few hours yet, so many corners of the new OS are still unknown to us. Still, a few things jump right out as in need of fixing. The first is that tilt-to-wake feature, which is still too sensitive for our tastes. And that might have something to do with the shorter-than-average battery life we're seeing on our Moto 360 compared with the previous software. There's also more stutter and general instability than we were seeing before. If you're a fitness buff, you might find the pedometer too generous in counting slight motions as steps. And finally, the watch still doesn't wait long enough for us to think while composing longer text messages. Oh, and if you're juggling multiple text conversations via Android Wear, you can expect at least one reply to go to the wrong person. It's more confusing than it needs to be. Again, these are preliminary findings. We'll dive a little deeper into the wrist-borne edition of Lollipop when we review our next Android Wear smartwatch, whenever that may be. For now, we're happy to see the platform's evolution keeping pace with that of its smartphone and tablet contemporaries, and we invite you to share your own experience in the comments below. Before you go, folks, be sure to check out our Moto 360 and LG G-Watch reviews here on YouTube, and our full Android Wear review at Pocketnow, linked in the description below. Till next time, this has been Michael Fisher with Pocketnow, Captain Two Phones on Twitter, reminding you to please think of the rest of us. Keep your smartwatch and your phone in theater mode when you go to the movies. We'll see you next time.